Attention passionate Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. I hope you're sitting down because there's some pretty significant news coming out of the NFL, specifically involving our beloved Seattle Seahawks. This offseason has been one of the most eventful in recent memory for the Seahawks, and it's not just about the draft picks or rookies stepping onto the field. No, this time, it's about a major quarterback move that has the potential to shake up the entire NFC West and even the league. The Seahawks, known for their bold moves in recent years, have decided to make a significant trade, sending quarterback Sam Darnold to the New Orleans Saints. That might sound like just another transaction on the surface, but when you dig into the implications, it's clear this could be a game changer, especially for the Seahawks' future and their quest for another Super Bowl appearance. Let's set the stage here. The Seahawks, after a roller coaster of a season, have been making strategic moves to position themselves as serious contenders again. They've traded away Geno Smith, who was their starting quarterback last season, to the Las Vegas Raiders. That's a huge shift, and it indicates that the Seahawks are clearly looking to go in a different direction under center. But what's really intriguing is the signing of Sam Darnold in free agency. Now Darnold, who has had a career full of ups and downs, managed to have a bit of a resurgence last season with the Minnesota Vikings. He threw for over 500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and maintained a 66% completion rate, which is quite impressive considering where he's been earlier in his career. That season showed that Darnold still has the ability to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and the Seahawks saw that potential too. However, the situation with the Seahawks quarterback room is complex. Heading into training camp, many believed that Sam Darnold was a lock to be the starting quarterback. After all, he was brought in with the expectation that he'd compete for that role, especially with Geno Smith no longer in the picture. But things aren't always so straightforward in the NFL, especially with a young and talented player like Jalen Milroe, who was drafted by Seattle in 2025. Milroe has been turning heads during training camp, showcasing his arm strength and ability to make plays that are hard to ignore. His performances have been impressive enough that the coaching staff is starting to seriously consider whether he could be the guy to lead the Seahawks in the near future. Now, this is where things get really interesting. If Milroe continues to develop at this pace, if he keeps showing flashes of that talent, and let's face it, he's been doing just that, then the Seahawks might have to make a tough decision. Do they stick with a more experienced but unproven quarterback like Darnold, or do they roll the dice on Milroe, a young player with a high ceiling? It's a classic NFL dilemma, and it's precisely why the Seahawks are in a position of power. Because if they decide to go with Milroe, then Darnold, who's been a solid backup, suddenly becomes a prime trade candidate. And that's where the news gets really fascinating for the NFL landscape. You see, the New Orleans Saints are currently in a bit of quarterback limbo. They've got a three-way battle going on between Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Heiner. None of these quarterbacks has firmly established themselves as the definitive starter, and that uncertainty is a real concern for a team that's trying to compete in a tough NFC. With new head coach Kellen Moore at the helm, the Saints are trying to find their identity offensively, but having a stable quarterback situation is critical. And that's why they're likely to be eyeing the Seahawks, Darnold if he becomes available. Because, let's be honest, Darnold has shown that he can be a reliable option when given the right environment. His time with the Vikings last season proved that he can produce at a high level, throwing for over 500 yards and 36 touchdowns, with a 66% completion rate. That's not just backup material, folks. That's the kind of production that can turn a franchise's fortunes around. The Saints, under Kellen Moore's new system, are looking for stability and consistency. They're hoping that one of their young quarterbacks will develop into a franchise guy, but that's easier said than done. The NFL is a league where patience is thin, and teams often have to make aggressive moves to stay competitive. If the Seahawks decide to trade Darnold, the Saints could be the perfect landing spot. They need a quarterback who can step in and deliver right away, and Darnold's experience and recent success fit that bill perfectly. Think about it. He's got a proven track record of producing when given the chance, unlike some of the other options currently fighting for the starting role in New Orleans. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture here. The Seahawks, by making this move, are signaling that they're not just interested in a quick rebuild but are aiming for sustained success. With Milroe's development and the possibility of trading Darnold for a valuable return, Seattle is positioning itself strategically. They're building a team that can contend for the playoffs now, but also has a young quarterback in Milroe who could be the face of the franchise for years to come. This kind of flexibility is what separates good teams from great ones in the NFL. It's about having options, about being able to pivot when necessary, and about making moves that position you better for the future. Meanwhile, for the Saints, acquiring Darnold could be a gamble worth taking. They're betting that his recent high-level performance wasn't just a one-season fluke, but the start of a new chapter in his career. If Darnold can replicate or even improve upon that success, he could be the stabilizing force that the Saints need to push for a playoff run. They're in a tough division, with the NFC South looking more competitive than ever, so having a reliable quarterback is crucial. The Saints' recent quarterback battles reflect their uncertainty, and a trade for Darnold could be the piece that finally puts them over the edge. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What does all of this mean for the Seahawks and their upcoming season? Well, it's simple. This quarterback shuffle adds a layer of intrigue and opportunity. If Milroe continues to impress, the Seahawks might be looking at a future where they have a young, dynamic quarterback leading the offense. But if they decide that Darnold still gives them the best shot for 2025, then the trade window opens, and the Saints could swoop in. Either way, it's a win-win situation for Seattle in terms of flexibility and strategic planning. They're in a position where they can afford to be patient and see how things develop during training camp and preseason. That's a luxury many teams don't have, especially in a division as competitive as the NFC West. And let's not forget, these kinds of moves ripple through the entire league. The NFC West is already one of the most competitive divisions, with teams like the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams always lurking. The Seahawks making bold moves now could tilt the balance of power in their favor, especially if Milroe blossoms into the star they believe he can become. The NFL is a league of moments, and this offseason could very well be remembered as the turning point for the Seahawks' resurgence. They're building a foundation for the future while also keeping their options open for the short term. It's a delicate balance, but one that Seattle seems to be managing well so far. So, for all the Seahawks fans out there, I want you to keep an eye on this situation. The potential trade of Sam Darnold to the Saints isn't just a small transaction. It's a move that could reshape the NFC West landscape. It's about more than just one player or one team. It's about the strategy, the vision, and the relentless pursuit of excellence that defines the Seahawks organization. They're not just playing for the now, they're playing for the future, and every decision they make echoes that mission. Whether Darnold stays or goes, whether Milroe takes that leap or not, one thing is clear: Seattle is on the rise again, and this season will be one to watch very closely. So buckle up, Seahawks fans, because this ride is just getting started, and it promises to be one of the most exciting seasons in recent memory. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Seattle Seahawks news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, the Seahawks front office is clearly playing the long game. They've built a team that's capable of competing now, but they're also investing in the future with Milroe and other young talents. The quarterback market is always fluid, and with Darnold potentially moving on, the Seahawks might find themselves with a valuable asset that could be used in future trades or even as a cornerstone for a new offensive attack. The NFL is a league where patience and timing are everything, and Seattle seems to understand that perfectly. They've been aggressive when needed, yet patient enough to see how their young players develop, which is exactly the kind of approach that can lead a team back to the top. And for the Saints, This move could be a pivotal moment in their quest to return to playoff prominence. With uncertainty reigning at quarterback and a new coaching staff trying to find their footing, bringing in a veteran like Darnold might be the shot in the arm they need. It's a gamble, yes, but one that could pay off if he can replicate that impressive season with the Vikings. The NFC South is wide open, and every team is making moves to improve their chances. For the Saints, having someone with Darnold's experience and recent form could be the difference between a mediocre season and a deep playoff run. To wrap it all up, fans of the Seahawks, keep your eyes peeled because this offseason has already shown us that nothing is set in stone. The NFL is a league of constant change, and the moves made now will echo throughout the season. The potential trade of Sam Darnold to the Saints isn't just about a single player or a single team, it's about the bigger picture, about how the Seahawks are positioning themselves for sustained success. Whether Milroe becomes the franchise quarterback of the future or Darnold finds a new home to reignite his career, one thing remains certain. Seattle is back in the conversation, and they're doing everything possible to stay there. The road to the Super Bowl is long and winding, but with these strategic moves, the Seahawks are making sure they're on the right path. So, fellow Seahawks fans, stay excited, stay engaged, and get ready for what promises to be an electrifying season ahead. The NFC West is about to get even more interesting, and we will be here every step of the way to bring you the latest updates, analysis, and inside stories. Because being a Seahawks fan isn't just about cheering from the sidelines, it's about being part of a passionate family that's always striving for greatness. And trust me, this season could be one of the most memorable yet. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, go Seahawks.